So, on today's episode of Entrepreneurs in Vehicles Getting Beverages, otherwise known as EIVGB, hashtag EIVGB, we have Ronald McDonald. I got the actual guy from McDonald's. No, I didn't. It's Ron Lynch. I don't even know if his full name is Ronald. He goes by Ronnie Lynch. He's been a mentor of mine for a few years now, almost like a second dad. And I don't say that just because he's older. He really has helped me a lot in my life in a lot of different ways. He used to watch my dog Poseidon, who's actually here for today's episode. What's up, buddy? Say hi. He's actually got a business that he's starting soon, so we can we'll talk about that later. But Ron is a legend. The guy is an absolute beast when it comes to marketing. He is sometimes referred to as the $4 billion man. He sold over $4 billion worth of products. And if you notice, I'm just in a cul-de-sac going around in a circle because we've already passed Ron's house. But we need to do the intro because it's a professional show. So just ignore the fact that you may see the same background multiple times. But he sold over $4 billion worth of products primarily through infomercials. Recently, he's done the new Samsung PowerBot. He's done GoPro. He's done Foreman Grill, OxyClean, the Billy Mays thing. He's done all sorts of massive infomercials. He's written a lot of them. He's an incredible copywriter and writer. He actually has a great book called Buy Now, which is pretty clever because it gets you to buy now because it's in the title. It's an embedded command. It's a little sales trick for you. And so Ron has helped me just with all sorts of different things over the years. And he also, the first ever phone conversation I had with him, I don't want to tell you the story right now because I don't want to ruin it, but it was one of the most memorable phone calls of my entire life, and I'm not saying that lightly. He told me some stories that I'll never forget, that genuinely changed the way I think about things, and so it should be a really fun one. We also have a good time together, and we'll see what type of beverages we get. And then lastly, I should probably speak about the car that we're in right now, which is, because this is Entrepreneurs in Vehicles Getting Beverages. This vehicle is the Jaguar XE. If you can't tell, I love Jags. We've had them since I was a kid. I think I talked about that before, but I actually love this car. I went in to get the F-Pace originally because I got this big dog, and I was like, I'm gonna get the F-Pace. It's an SUV. It's the new Jag SUV. I really like the look of it. I drove it, it was fast, it was like driving a sports car just like 3 feet higher up off the ground. I loved it, and I drove this as well, which is the XE, and it's a supercharged, 4.2 liter, no, 3.6 liter supercharged engine. It is like an angry teenager when you let it off the leash, because I keep my car on a leash. Like seriously, when you put this car into dynamic mode, it just like growls and grips the road, and I turn off traction mode and just do like ridiculous stuff that I shouldn't do probably legally. But I love this car. But today we're gonna drive something different. Wow, was that timing or what? That is called being a professional. We are driving the Hyundai Elantra. Nothing wrong with that. No, we'll be driving a Porsche Cayman S, which I'm sure Ronald can tell you about.
It's your second day.
Hey, buddy!
Hey, buddy! Chicks. Okay, enough of you. Where's the chicks? There's chicks in there, right? Let's go.
That's it. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hello, Facebook. I'm here with Sir Ronald of Lynch, the $4 billion man.
Nice. Jerry Seinfeld and I had breakfast this morning, and he was like really disappointed that I was doing this afternoon. He said EIVGB.
EIVGB. He's like, I know about EIVGB. Look at Ron's cool car. Look at his.
I like my garage floors. It's more the better.
Yeah,
car.
You know what? You want to see his garage floors?
My garage floors.
Your garage
floor.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here in Ron's garage. I'm here in Ron's garage with this sick floor. That is really, and you made this floor, didn't you?
Yeah, it's 26 coats of epoxy in 6 different colors.
When you get super rich, you can put 26 different colors.
I did it myself. It's a DIY job.
Yo, Ty Lopez, what you know about these floors, bro?
Hey,
what you know? How many? You may have a bunch of books, but how many colors you got in your garage floor, son?
I got a library in my garage. I've got a library of champagne.
Boom.
No books.
That's the difference. No books.
We sing karaoke.
Bars over books. If you just got on here or you're watching now, we did an episode of Entrepreneurs and Vehicles Getting Beverages today. Here's Morgan. He is more than just a cameraman. I want to be very clear. He is so much more. He's actually the person who's worked with me longest. We filmed an episode. Tolerated me. Hey. You know why they're laughing? Because it's true. That's painful. Morgan tolerates me. It's fine. I'm fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. All right, that's it. My shoulder's tired. That's typically when I want to end these, is when my shoulder gets really tired. I clearly need to lift more weight. Need more weight. See you later. So I want to ask you, I said in the intro thing, I was like, you have to hear these stories from Ron. I will never forget, I said it was literally the first time we ever talked on the phone is one of the most memorable phone conversations I've ever had in my life. Was it Brad Costanza who actually introduced us?
I was in a creative session with Stevie Salas and Charlie Sexton working on an audio product.
Right.
And I came home and you popped up in my Facebook feed, or someone sent me this video. You got to see
Maybe
this
the
video.
YouTube video. It was the YouTube.
It was the
first
toilet drinking.
Water ad.
It was the toilet water ad, and I'm like, this guy is brilliant. Because I've got plenty in my background of Billy Mays' and things like that. Like, this is solid, real. This is the way the world's going. And I think I must have called Brad. I said, you know this guy? And then
yeah, Brad knows everyone.
We got our phone numbers,
yes.
But you were at the airport.
No, the first call I was at, I could have been at the first time, but I was at Crisis Education, Perfect Water Purifier, that company that I was working with. I was in the office. This is the only time I ever had closer to it, the job. And yeah, I had done we had the toilet water ad that did because that thing went to 500,000 views in 2 days. But then, because you called, and I remember Brad was like, yeah, this guy's done this, this, and this. And he's like, he's done GoPro and OxyClean and Foreman Go. I'm like, what does this guy want to talk to me for? I was, I'm 25. I'm like a copywriter at this company. I mean, I was the only one. I was the copywriter in the face of this thing now, but I was so new. I felt super unworthy of being on the phone with you. And I would be called, and then you complimented me. And back then I also didn't know how to take a compliment. So it's like, oh, yeah, all that silly toilet water ad, whatever. But that was when we met, and then you started telling me these stories. And I remember I can't sit down and talk on the phone. It's very difficult for me. I have to be moving.
Yeah, I usually
so
pace.
I'm pacing in this office, and you do these Ron Lynch things, which a Ron Lynch thing is he'll ask you a question, and I used to do my impression, and he goes I specifically remember this question. You go, would you like to know how I got $2 million worth of Super Bowl ads for $400,000? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Not interested in that. I was like, yes, of course, tell me. And then you told me that story, which I'd love if you'd tell me that story, and then the GoPro story. Because the GoPro story, literally the closest thing it felt was somebody took a part of my brain and they just threw it on the floor. Just literally just blew, not literally, because if it literally blew a hole in my brain, That would
be problematic.
I hate people that don't know how to say literally properly. Literally, I figuratively had my brain blown to bits.
Okay.
But those two stories, I'd love to hear.
So we'd found our new business development guy.
By the way, GoPro, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's a very small camera company that we were using here. I actually tried to I had a competitor, I don't know if you ever saw Go Amateur. It was a half-price GoPro. It was very average quality. Nobody was into it. It didn't take off at all.
You threw it.
GoPro was
chased
much
it.
better. Yeah. GoPro
like a boomerang cam.
Yeah.
So we found it at the Salt Lake City Outdoorsman show, I think, and met Nick Woodman, and he was living in his van down by the river. He was living in the van. That was his trade show booth. So he'd pull his surfboard and his skis and all this TVs and stuff out of this van. And that was his trade show booth. And so it was obviously a great television product. We were like, this is going to be a great TV product. And we talked about doing a half-hour show.
This is like the beginning, right?
They were at 600 grand and they were just in surf and ski shops. They had no retail distribution whatsoever.
Right.
So it took about 9 months or a year to kind of court them, and they came to Seattle a couple times. Our office was in Seattle at the time, and then he was like ready to pull the trigger. And so I sat down and did a creative brief with him for the program, and he keeps really weird hours. Like you get email, or he won't talk to you in the daytime. You'll get his email at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, which is fun. A lot of the entrepreneurs are that way. And we had decided, okay, these were the metrics that we needed. Was one, we said the problem with the cameras only takes one angle. The mounts are fantastic, but we have to show a second angle. You have to show the user so that you get the idea that it's a vanity camera.
Right. Because they were showing everything outside, right?
Everybody was showing sports footage, and so were all of their competitors.
Right.
So anyways, you're seeing skis go down the hill, big deal. You have to see the skier. It's not just the front of the kayak. Well, at this moment was when Facebook and YouTube both really came into the picture, pardon the pun. And we had the right product for it. And so we created these creatives that were all user generated, all sportsmen. That Nick was handing out cameras like crazy. They had their CFO's son is one of those wingsuit guys that jumps off of cliffs. Yep. And so we had great footage from that. And we decided, okay, the first shot, the spot would be a branded shot of this is GoPro. The second shot would be the avatar of the person. When you hit the button, the first thing you always see in your footage is your own dumb face because you're trying to go, is it on? Yeah. So that, and then 27 seconds of sports footage, and at the end, a contest. Every day we give away a suite of our products.
Did you drive them to
the GoPro page? It was just the GoPro page.
Okay.
This is before. There's no ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Like this is straight to the page. You go to the page, and an interrupt would immediately come up. Enter to win. You saw our contest. Enter to win. People put in their email address to get to the site. That interrupt would come down. They'd go to the site, and then they'd see all these other sports. Well, we were running different creatives on every different channel you could think of by channel. So the way people use the internet now, as far as parceling out your verticals, we did that on TV media. So that got the kind of the ball rolling with the company, and I think we got to 16 million or so in the first 12 months of doing that campaign.
Wow.
And
were you buying on TV?
Exclusively on TV, and small independent cable networks like Outside Television, the Speed Network. Like there was a spot with Nick driving his race car in Dana Point or Laguna Beach on Speed Network, and Neil throwing himself off of a cliff on the Outdoors channel, and Outside TV had the kayak spot, that sort of thing. So sales started to boom online, and then we decided, hey, we want to get on retail. It's time to get to retail. And Amazon wasn't such a big deal at that moment for products. So we decided, okay, we downloaded the Best Buy logo off their site. And I took, I think, 10 spots.
Like you literally screenshotted it essentially,
no, we
right?
Just,
and made it a little bit.
Pulled the PNG file. Yeah, like people with all their PNG, everybody's logos are online if you look long enough. Yeah. So we pulled the Best Buy logo, and this is not legal. We didn't know it. And I thought, well, it's like, oh, this will be crafty. So we took 10 tapes, and we were trafficking electronically at that point. Short form shows, spots, 1 minute spots could be trafficked electronically. Half-hour shows had to have tapes. So we picked 2 weekends that had a holiday, and we started running the tapes, the shows on Friday night, then through the holiday week and on to the next Sunday. So there were 10 days, and it was the regular spots that we were running. We just cut 3 seconds of footage out, and at the end it said, now available at Best Buy. So we knew we were gonna get a call from either Best Buy's buyers or Best Buy's lawyers. We turned the spots off, put all the regular spots back on, and a week later they
said the lawyers never called, right?
The buyers called, and so they made a huge retail order because they had customers coming in. Do you have GoPros here? I saw it on TV. No one ever put together what I saw a TV commercial that said I should buy it here. You're selling them here. They just came in and asked and said, "Do you sell GoPros?" I saw them on TV. I saw them.
So, but it's so genius. That was one of the most genius things I'd ever heard, because it's like, you can do what everybody else is doing and spend your time, especially if you're newer like that. How do I get a hold of Best Buy? You see all these people going to Shark Tank, right? How do I get a hold of Best Buy, Walmart, Target, whoever? It's like, well, why don't you just put it in your commercial, and then they come, and you didn't tell me that you didn't go, and then they called, you just let it sit, and I'm like, oh, I know what happened here. And then they go in and I'll actually take another one of these, please. Yes, please.
So there was a pretty good wholesale order put in, and then we took that invoice.
But they literally call you because they were like, all these people are coming in going, I want a GoPro. And they go, well, we should be ordering these if everybody wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they called GoPro and said, hey, we want to put you in our line review, and they made a sizable order, and then
I bet.
took that invoice
Was it one of the best buys you ever had?
Oh.
Because it's the name of the...
It's good.
It's the...
Have you ever considered doing comedy?
No, my parents don't think I'm funny. Actually, that is true, by the way. My parents do not think I'm funny.
My parents don't think
I make the mistake of trying to show them my videos sometimes. It's so disappointing every time. I showed my parents the slow and the calm one, the one of the Fast and Furious one.
Do you guys see how fast I went in that circle? Is that like the shape of a donut?
Nothing. They just sit there. He goes, is it supposed to... My dad's such a... Is it supposed to be funny? I said, yes, that one is supposed to be funny. I go, why did I show you? I haven't showed anybody this, and I've decided to start with you. I remember there was a time I was talking to my dad on the phone. It's like when I started doing stand-up and I was like writing, you know, a good amount of material. And I'd written this bit about like how I felt like offices had taken everything from school that we hate. They're like, you know, they had this meeting and they're like, okay, so we're gonna start a company and we're gonna take all what do we use in school? They're like, you know those tiny desks we hated? Yep, bring them in. How about those, you know, the information that you don't give a shit about? Yep, we'll keep those. Meetings, yep. What about recess? Should we give them recess? No, scratch that. And I had this thing of like, you know, and I had written it out and I read it to my dad and he just sits there and he just goes, all right. It's like, he'll always ask, he goes, aren't you supposed to be funny to do stand-up? And I say, no, there are a lot of people who I don't find funny at all that do it, so there you go. But he does not find me funny. He always goes, I don't understand. I'm the funny one in the family. No, that GoPro story is amazing.
So Super Bowl money?
Now follow up with the Super Bowl one.
So we decided we'd love to put this product on the Super Bowl.
This is the GoPro.
GoPro. And we thought, we had, I think the first commercial was, I think, Felix Baumgartner jumping
the guy
from
who,
space.
From space into...
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
There's a decent video.
Yeah, so
Mildly interesting.
They had a hookup with Red Bull. There was cross marketing for sports between Red Bull and GoPro. And Felix Baumgartner was hooked up with Red Bull for that event. So we started thinking about this, and we knew what the prices were, and I think at that point it was $3 or $4 million for 30 seconds or a minute.
On a Super Bowl ad.
On a Super Bowl ad. And then we realized when you watch the Super Bowl, when you watch any television, there's an FCC rule that if you own a local affiliate station, you get so much time every half hour to do news promos, so, you know, coming up with the 6 p.m. news or the local garden show or the local Ford dealership. So the local station gets an allotment of time.
No matter what, even if it's a Super Bowl.
No matter what, it's per hour, they get so much time. So we just test called a station in a market, and we went, hey, do you guys have a 30-second time? And they're like, yeah. Well, they're trying to sell that time to local Ford dealerships for $1 million, $500,000, and they're not having it.
They can't afford it.
Or even $200,000. They're not going to get they're never going to get the sales. And they're not going to do a creative. You know, they're not going to be Billy Bob in his hat out there selling the pickup truck.
They have some of the local car ads are some of the worst ads and best at the same time.
Yeah, they're either great or they're terrible. So that made sense. So we figured out what the price was for a local market, and then we just asked how many they had. And they said, well, you know, we have one every hour, two every 3, 4 hours, every hour. So we started to negotiate with them. And what we negotiated was to get a spot, say in the pregame, and then one spot during the game. Didn't matter if it was in the first, second, third, fourth quarter, we got the spot. And then one in the postgame. So we got 3 spots kind of for the price of one. And then
which is crazy in itself because you got more ads.
Well, they want to be able to go back to the local Ford dealership and say it's worth it. We got someone to buy it. Like they can leverage that back to these local buyers now, these local advertisers. So we went and we hit maybe 13 markets around the country that were important to us. So we got Dallas and New York and Los Angeles and Chicago, you know.
But you're only paying, what, 50 grand?
Yeah, you're just paying, yeah, we're paying 50 grand, but we're getting 3 spots now.
Right.
And then Super Bowl comes, well, all those spots are at different times. Viewer has no idea. The viewer doesn't know what time it's running. So you run the spot 3 times, and then the internet blows up with, oh my God, GoPro bought 3. And all of these people were in different cities because people talk Monday morning about the commercials that ran. They don't really talk about the time slots that they ran in.
Right.
They don't know that it actually ran in a different spot in every single city.
Right.
And boom, suddenly that awareness and that raised the belief in the company and the product to the point where that just exploded the marketplace.
Well, and it legitimizes them. It's a credential thing too, right? Because it's like, and it's massive social proof. Wow, this company must be doing really well. It must be legit. If they're able to buy 3 spots compared to 1 spot that everybody else is doing. So you guys, what did you end up? You spent like 500,000 or something.
It was like, I think it was only like 300,000 or 400,000 the first year. 300,000 was not that much money.
Were you able to track like how much that actually made?
Yeah, but I don't remember what the number is.
But it was a lot more.
It was sizable. Yeah, there's always a large multiple, and then of course retail blew up, and kids had their Christmas money, and people were taking ski vacations and stuff in the wintertime, so that the retail was sizable.
Well, it's probably tough too in the infomercial space where you know if something hits, it could do 80, 100 million or more in a year or in months, or, you know.
I've had things where I thought it didn't, like I did Kevin Harrington's show with him for the Flavor Wave Deluxe Oven. It just looked like a cake top. It was this plastic clear cake top that fit on a thing and snapped together, and you plugged it into the wall and it had a fan and an infrared light on it. And you'll see it on TV now as the New Wave Oven, Flavor Wave. And I thought, this is the weirdest thing. And it was one of the very first infomercials I did, and all my kids were in the infomercial. So really? I know how old it was, because my kids were like 3 to 6.
And now one of them can drink beer.
Yep. And the show ran for 10 years, did over $100 million, and the B-roll, like the thing that drove, and I immediately knew when I saw it, I'm like, they said, oh, it can cook from frozen to fresh. And they sent me one home. And I don't know, they mailed it to my house or something. I put this thing on my kitchen top, and I got a Canon GL1, XL1S, one of those old, now they were new at the time. This is probably 2002, 2003. I put this camera on my kitchen counter, and I put a chicken in it, a frozen chicken, and cooked it. Pulled that out, put a roast beef in it. Pulled that out, put pork chops in it. I put all this frozen food in it, one thing at a time, and in 2 days I cooked all this frozen food. That B-roll was the thing that sold it. The B-roll that I shot in my kitchen was the thing that sold it. And it ran in the show for 10 years.
Did you make it black and white?
You didn't have to, because it was orange. It was like really creepy. I mean, I would see it in years and like, why are they still using that footage? It was terrifying.
Worked.
It looked like you were raiding.
Sometimes that's one, like you.
It was real.
This is like the first thing we talked about was the toilet water ad that I did. We did one in LAX where I drank out of a toilet at LAX.
Yeah.
Morgan's there holding this camera, and we're in the bathroom for 2 minutes, not exaggerating, 2 minutes waiting for this guy to finish before he comes out, and then I go in and I take the bottle and I scoop it out and drink it. I still have people. I forget now because like those videos have more, you know, those have been seen by more people than any of the like parody videos or anything I've done. And so I've had people be like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. Like, oh, I'm like, I don't know. Because you always also look like a huge asshole if you assume that somebody's seen a video.
Yeah.
Well, I actually do these videos on the internet. But they'd be like, oh my God, I saw you. They're either like, I saw you drink out of a toilet, or I saw you drink black water off the side of a road. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, did you buy it? And they're like, some of them are like, yeah, I actually did. I'm like, it worked. Like, did you know, what did it taste like? I'm like, it tasted good. It was a real ad.
It's a good ad. They're funny. I tell people I'm Jason Bateman's fat brother. And they're like, that's too bad.
Oh, that's actually really, how have I never seen that? Oh my God. I'm never gonna unsee that.
I can do it to you again.
Who else?
Drew Carey and Patrick Swayze had a baby.
Oh my God. Do me next.